girlfriend and I got into a huge fight over a keyboard, thinking about ending things based on her behavior. We have a 26 male OP and a 26 female girlfriend, originally posted to r/relationship advice on May 19th, 2019. So my girlfriend and I got into a fight about this 2 nights ago. She's making it seem like I'm being an a-hole. We've been dating for about 4.5 months. My girlfriend has a 2013 Lenovo laptop that has seen better days. As it stands right now, among some other issues, her keyboard totally doesn't work. Because of this, she always uses a small Bluetooth keyboard with her laptop. She had texted me the next morning saying that her wireless keyboard had stopped working as well. We had already planned for me to stay the night at her place after I got off of work, so I offered to stop by my place on the way to grab her a keyboard, as I have a few extras. When I got to her place, she was eagerly awaiting the keyboard, which makes sense as she wasn't able to use her computer for most of the day. But when I handed her the keyboard, she started getting really quiet and pouty. A bit later, when I asked her what was wrong, she said she thought I'd be bringing her something nicer, like the keyboard I have on my desk. The thing is, I have a really nice keyboard at my desk. I'm a programmer, and I love this keyboard so much that I also bring it to work with me. I even have specific macro profiles for it that definitely improve my workflow. For context, I had an extra Amazon Basics keyboard around $15 laying around, still brand new in the box. My personal keyboard, which I've had for years, is some variant of the Razer Black Widow, around $120. Anyway, she was apparently expecting me to be selfless and let her use my nice keyboard while I use the Amazon keyboard. She was upset that I didn't value her enough to lend her my nice possessions and left her with the cheap $10 keyboard. Her words. She said if the situation was reversed, she'd lend me the nice keyboard. I explained to her that I have my keyboard specifically set up for work, and because I'm so used to it, it would hinder my ability to do work if I didn't have it. Marsco said this is such a non-issue, and I agree, but here's what I will say. This fucking mouse that I have right here, this is my fucking baby, bro. The buttons on the side here make editing, I shit you guys not, probably speeds up my editing 4 times faster than it would be if I was just using a regular mouse and keyboard, because it allows me to make edits without moving this hand from the buttons that I need to keep it on. I love this mouse so much. They discontinued this mouse in America, but it still exists in Japan. So I went on eBay and ordered it from Japan via eBay. And I have it on my standing desk in my dining room, and I take it on trips with me. That's how much I fucking love this mouse. If a girl tried to be like, oh, I deserve this mouse over you, I'd be like, hell fucking no, bro. I'm sorry. If you want a really nice keyboard, buy one. Hey, maybe that'll be your next birthday present, whatever. But like, it seems so weird. Like, it just seems like something where it's like important enough to OP where it makes 0 sense for her to use it over him. Like, it's not like he's handing over like a disgusting, terrible keyboard. He's handing her something that will allow her to work her 2013 Lenovo laptop, which, by the way, y'all, in 2019, that's an old ass laptop. No fucking keyboard is gonna make that thing work any better. It's probably just like a brick at this point. We continued to argue about it. Things really came to a head when she boldly claimed that if I wasn't willing to lend her my nice keyboard, that I should have bought her a nice new keyboard if I really cared about her. This is when I got really mad. I told her she was acting like an entitled, spoiled child, and that she should have been grateful that I went out of my way in the first place to grab her the Amazon keyboard. Bro, put her in her fucking place. Yeah, bro, she is acting like an entitled, spoiled child on some fucking only child syndrome for real, for real. She started crying and asked me to go home. I left, but I still gave her the Amazon keyboard to use. I was far more upset at the principle of the situation than the keyboard itself. So now she's calling me an a-hole for both not giving her my keyboard and because I called her spoiled. We're going to meet up tomorrow to talk about this in person because I refuse to continue this silly argument over text. I'm thinking about ending things with her as I feel like this is her showing me her true colors. This is such a dumb thing, but also over a long period of time, I also see myself getting sick of something like this. Girl, he brought you a fucking keyboard that, by the way, guys, it probably works for her purposes exactly like his nice keyboard would. It's just such a non-issue. Like, when it comes to dating, there are people people who are gonna compliment your life and people who are gonna complicate your life. And y'all could probably guess the people that complicate your life, in my opinion, are not the ones you want to date. Okay? If somebody's walking around town and everything that you do, you feel like, oh, I could do something that I think is normal, but they have unrealistic expectations that make this harder for me, it's not worth dating them. Especially too, by the way, guys, I don't know if you caught this. They've been dating for 4.5 months. If this were like maybe a 4.5 year relationship, I would be like, all right, if she hasn't exhibited this behavior before, might be a one-off, whatever. You work through it. Maybe you go to couples therapy or whatever. Bro, 4.5 months, just dippity doo dah out of there, man. I think what he said is true. Like, she's showing him her true colors right now. You know what I'm thinking, y'all? This is me just like coming up with shit out of my ass. But what it feels like to me is she's seeing how much she can control OP. Like, how much can she convince him that, oh, you need to go above and beyond to do nice things for me because that's just what you need to do. Because it literally makes zero sense for her to be using an $120 keyboard. Like, listen, it didn't say what she was using the computer for, but I doubt with a Lenovo 2013 laptop that the keyboard doesn't even work. You're probably not using it for insane things. You're probably using that shit to like look up YouTube videos, maybe play a little bit of Sims or something. Like, nothing that requires a nice keyboard. To be honest, y'all, before I had this keyboard, I used a fucking Dell keyboard that I got from Goodwill for $5. I had that shit for years. Old, reliable. Razer's misogynistic? Why are they misogynistic? That's good though. I don't think I have any Razer products now that I think about it. No. Yeah, I don't think I have any Razer products, chat. I've heard their products are pretty dog shit. They make their own version of this. When I was researching, because I wanted another one of these for like traveling, when I did my research, everybody was like, yo, the Razer version of that mouse dies in like 2 years. I've had this mouse, y'all, since 2018, and it's still going strong, chat. They did a big ad on noise canceling your girlfriend and blocked comments on anyone calling it out. Bro, that's crazy. Bro, I bet the Republicans loved that one. The motherfuckers talking about the old ball and chain were like, hell yeah, let me get a Razer headphone. Also, she never communicated her expectations and expected OP to read her mind. That's actually such a good point too. Relevant comments. First person said, you are honestly 100% right. She's acting like a spoiled child. Beggars can't be choosers. That's actually such a good point as well. Like, bro, if you want a fancy keyboard, go get it yourself. Otherwise, get what you get and you don't throw a fit. She wants your nice keyboard. She can buy one herself. Better yet, she can buck up and save up for a new laptop. I don't blame you at all for feeling angry. I think you should attempt to talk through it before you decide to break up with her, but it is definitely a red flag that she's acting this way. Another comment said, I think you got it right when you said she was a spoiled brat. She should have been grateful that you came over with a keyboard, any kind of keyboard. Maybe she should take her own advice and be a little selfless. I would pose a question to you. If you two are fighting over a keyboard, what will happen with an issue that is a bit more serious comes up? Good luck with your talk. I have a feeling you're going to need it. Ooh, and then somebody left a comment with some advice that I actually really like. Never marry someone until you've seen how they act on a really bad day. I think what should also be added to that is see how they act on a really bad day and what they do after that really bad day. Because I truly believe, y'all, there are some humans who have bad days and do the wrong thing and maybe take it out on their spouse. But if they're willing to like take accountability for it and take steps to change that, I actually do think it's someone to keep around. But also maybe not even 4.5 months, you know? Like, that's something where it's like you've been dating them for years and they just do something stupid. But I really like this, bro. Some people also don't understand that like what they do on their good days is not as meaningful as what they do on their bad days. Also, see how they handle anger. I think that's so important too. OP added a quick little edit here right before the update. Edit, she texted me asking to meet up tonight instead of tomorrow as she is feeling anxious and stressed about the situation. I will give everyone an update later tonight or tomorrow morning. I also wanted to clarify that she's never acted like this before, although admittedly we haven't been together for very long. Yeah, bro, she had that mask on for the first 4.5 months. This is how she actually is. Some of you suggested that maybe I'm not making her feel valued, and the situation is a symptom of that. While I think I both show and tell her that she's valued in different ways, this may be something I bring up with her. It, of course, doesn't forgive her behavior, but may explain some of it. Cheers. Even if this was the case, by the way, and like OP for some reason isn't making her feel valued, this is not the way you bring that up. Like, yeah, if you're not feeling valued in a relationship, you should feel valued, but you also need to take the initiative to bring that up with your partner, not when it like happens, but then also not in a situation where you have no ground to stand on. OP actually did give her a reason to feel valued. It said that OP went out of his way after work to stop by home to get her her this keyboard. Like, he didn't have to do that. That was a nice thing for him to do. I think if you're a normal person, you're looking at that and being like, that is something that someone does when they care about someone. My old ex-mother-in-law said, don't marry anyone until you've traveled together, built furniture together, and seen them on their worst day. Agreed. That's why I'm not a big fan, bro, because sometimes 2 years to encompass all of that is not long enough. Update, May 20th, 2019, the next day. We met earlier tonight and sat down to talk. I was somewhat prepared to end things with her, so I suggested we meet at her place so that I could bail if things went south, and they did. Even though I thought I made my post as anonymous as possible, one of my girlfriend's coworkers figured out who the post was about. In parentheses, girlfriend's age, working in HR, which I mentioned in a comment, some computer problems, dating a programmer, etc. And sent it to my girlfriend. The reason she wanted to meet early was because she was furious that I had made the post airing our dirty laundry. In a sense, I guess she was right because at least one person had figured it out. My girlfriend never used Reddit, so I figured I was safe. There's a strong chance she'll read this one as well, LOL. Anyway, she immediately began berating me, telling me that I made her look bad in the post and lied about the details of our argument to get people on my side. I asked her to point out any part of it that wasn't true or where I had lied. Long story short, she couldn't point to a single thing. I definitely raised my voice when I told her that if she looked bad, it's only because of her actions. I told her I only made the post to get some perspective on the matter. The post was 100% accurate and she knew it. She began to tear up and asked me if I really was considering leaving her over the keyboard. I asked her if she understood that this wasn't about the keyboard. It was about the way she acted towards me when I was trying to do her a favor. She stayed silent and didn't answer. I asked her what prompted this outburst, if everything was okay with her. I asked if anything had happened with her friends, parents, or at work that was upsetting her and may have led to this. So you're telling me she saw the post, read all the comments, and still berated you, accused you of lying, and at the end of all of it, still wasn't able to put together that it wasn't just about the keyboard? That just sounds like an incredibly not self-aware person, and that's not someone you want to be with. Like, if somebody can't parse out their emotions or look at all the facts of a situation, there's no way living with them isn't going to be hell. OP is being way too considerate now. No, I agree with you, Shan. Way too considerate. She got really defensive, asking, "Are you calling me crazy?" And "Do you think I'm unstable?" I had no idea where she was going with this. I told her I wasn't calling her crazy, but that she had to understand that I was quite confused about how she was acting and that there had to be a reason for it. We talked in circles for a bit and I tried to pry it out of her. I still don't know what caused all of this because she simply wouldn't tell me. When I realized our conversation was going nowhere, I finally asked her if we were going to have an adult conversation or if this was the hill she was willing to let the relationship die on. She asked, "What do you want from me?" And I said, "I want an apology." I'm getting tired of typing, so I'll wrap this up quickly. She was absolutely unwilling to apologize. She thought that my betrayal of posting this was far worse than her initial behavior was. She talked for about 5 more minutes before I told her that I don't even care anymore. I told her that this whole thing was exhausting as she wasn't willing to help us get to the bottom of this, that we should just break up. I didn't waste any time making my way to the door. Bro, this is crazy because this actually reminds me of a situation I had with a girl. Like, this girl was treating me like shit. I called her out on it and she couldn't even muster up an apology to me. She just kept making excuses on why she was treating me like shit. I ended up leaving her on red, bro. I was like, I can't fucking deal with you. At a certain point, I think it just all comes down to like, there are people in this world that just like can't see that what they're doing is wrong because in their head, they're right. As I was leaving, she asked if I wanted the keyboard back. She didn't ask to be nice. She was definitely trying to get on my nerves. I could tell by her tone of voice. I told her she could keep it as long as she promised never to call or text me again. As a fire response. I've been getting tons of not so nice messages from her friends, which finally prompted me to delete my Facebook. If you're dating somebody who them and their friends use Facebook, that's an immediate red flag. Unless you're like a creator like me making money off that shit, being on Facebook is such a red flag. Also, I've never understood deleting the Facebook. Do y'all not know about the block button? Try me, chat. One of my fucking ex's friends and family are DMing me mean things. I would hit the block so fast. I'm so unbothered. I don't give a fuck. She obviously told her friends some false version of the story, which made it seem like I really did leave her over the keyboard. I couldn't care less, as I'll never be seeing any of them again. We only dated for around 4 months, so in the end, I don't feel terribly heartbroken. Mostly just relief that it's over, but also confusion. Still have no idea why she acted out. And to the people who had some unkind words towards me because I use a Razer keyboard, pound sand dorks, I like what I like. Listen, chat, all I'm saying is my keyboard is so much better, it's cheaper, and it's not from apparently a misogynistic company. At least as far as I know. Shout out the Ayula keyboard. Link in the description of my live streams. No, I love this fucking keyboard. Oh, there is also a very short edit here. She called earlier today and was very apologetic. My assumption is that she saw this post and read all the comments detailing how I was right for leaving her, among other things. I told her that she had her chance to apologize. Yeah, bro, that's not someone you want to be with. You don't want somebody who you're gonna have to fucking put them through the ringer for them to actually apologize for their actions. There is a top comment on here. I saw a comment on Reddit a while back that asked why so many relationships fail at approximately the 3-month point, and someone, in parentheses, no, I'm not going to spend 20+ minutes Googling to give credit to the person, replied that they'd once been told it was because it was really hard for people to continue pretending to be someone they weren't for much longer than 3 months. I think maybe this applies to your situation. No, bro, exactly. After the 3-month mark, people's masks usually fall off.